Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you that are new, my name is Jacqueline. Welcome. I hope you guys decide to stay. So for today's video, I'm actually going to be doing something new. I did put on my Instagram that I wanted to start doing story times. So yeah, if you're new, make sure you go ahead and hit the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, comment whatever you want. So let's go ahead and get started with the video. The reason that I wanted to share this story with you guys was because I know that there's been a lot of things going on with our street vendors, and they have been, you know, killing them, assaulting them, you know, just in general. People are just being like really abusive over our street vendors. Me, as with my personal experience as a street vendor, I can relate to what they could be going through, you know, in a way. So that's why I wanted to come out here and like mainly just give you guys like my story on when I was a street vendor at one point. It started off with my mom. I don't even remember how she got the idea. We were super small. We were probably, I think, maybe like not five. We were, I think at most, maybe like 9, 10 years old, if anything. You remember how old we were when my mom started selling them by herself? Because that's where it started, no? We were hella small, I remember.
I think you were 7, I was 5.
We were hella small, huh?
Oh, at 5 years old, you were like 7.
Because we wouldn't go with her until we were older.
I'll be right back. What do you want?
A freeze.
Is that?
Again, I need one too. Medium. Anyways. So, yeah. Now that we got interrupted like always. I mean, this is not a Jackie's video, YouTube video, without me getting interrupted somehow. Remember, she was selling in those carritos of like the supermarkets, like just Save Mart carritos, the ones that you just go grocery shopping with. You know, she got one of those and she started making her chips and everything, like just from scratch, everything. She would make her chips, you know, put her oil in like a big pan full of oil, and she would make the chips, and then she would drain the chips, like the oil from them, and she would bag them, like everything, you know. And I'm thinking like, why are we doing this, you know? Like I had like no clue. And then like the corn, she would cook the corn, everything. She would do it like on the side of the house, like outside, because obviously she can't do that inside. It was just too much. And yeah, just one day she just took off selling, and honestly I give it to my mom because she went like on her own on each street. She would walk every single street. People honestly loved my mom because she's like so outgoing, she's so friendly, she's funny, like, you know, she like brings out her personality with anybody. So like literally everybody knew who she was. Even at school they would ask me like, oh, is your mom gonna sell today? Is she gonna pass by my house and this and that? And I'm just like so embarrassed. Like honestly, I'm not gonna lie, and I know this sounds messed up, but I was embarrassed to have parents that would do that. Like I hated it so much. I don't know why. I feel like when we're little, we have that mentality of like, oh my god, how embarrassing, but like we don't know, you know. Eventually we ended up moving homes. This is so funny because my parents are like, we're gonna move out, la la la, and I'm thinking like, oh my god, finally, like we're gonna stop selling this thing, like finally, like, you know, we're not gonna be doing this anymore, like all these things. Where we lived at, when you go down the street, there was a park, and then across, like once you cross the park, the same street keeps going on to like the other end. So we lived on this side, so we literally just moved to the other street, which was the same exact street, just on the other side of the park. I don't know, they didn't stop the business or anything. My mom was like, you know, since you're the guy, you're gonna come with me so that if anything happens, you know, somebody's with me, I'm not by myself. I was just like, oh my god, like thank god, like I'm not the one going, like, oh, you know, because I didn't want to go. But then again, in a way, it was a lot for me, and I learned to be like responsible in a way because of that, because I was the oldest of the girls. Obviously I only have one sister, so it was, since my mom and my brother would go selling in the afternoons, probably maybe like 3-4 hours, I think they would go walk around and sell. And then so I would stay home with my dad, my little brother, and my sister. And obviously I'm the one that was responsible for feeding them and taking care of them and all that stuff. So it was like I was being the mom for those hours that my mom was gone. We would go to school in the morning, and then we would have to rush home walking from school to home. And then my brother had to get ready, change and everything, and go with my mom the whole afternoon, get back home, do homework, do like his things that he had to do. And then it was just like an on and on and on day. And for me, it was go to school, rush home, feed everybody dinner. There was this one time that, you know, she went on about her day with my brother and all that stuff, and then we received a phone call. She had gotten assaulted, and she said that this man, like, it wasn't even like an older man. He probably was like around like his late 20s, early 30s, around there. And he, you know, my mom's thinking like, oh, you know, like this is our first customer, because they had literally just left the house, and where the liquor store was right around the corner from our house. So they went like around the corner, and then they were gonna get something to drink, and then they were gonna continue their day. And so this man like approaches her, and she's like, you know, obviously being friendly, like, hey, how can I help you? Like, you know, do you want a corn? You want chips? Like, what is it that you want? And then the guy was just like, oh, I don't know, like, you know, just kind of like looking around, like kind of like looking at what she had and stuff. And then I guess he pulled like a knife on her and told her like, give me your bag. You know, my mom had like these she had like a little brown cross the bag on her where she would put all the money that, you know, they would collect for the day. And my mom was like, honestly, when my mom told us this story, I'm like, how the heck were you not scared of this man? Like, he's holding a knife to you and you're like not scared. Like, obviously she said she was scared, but she wasn't showing him that she was scared. I'm not gonna give you my purse. And the guy's like, give me my purse or I'm gonna stab you. And my mom was like, no, I'm not gonna give you my purse. And then my mom literally, I think she had only sold $1. Like, even though it was just $1, she did not want to give up her purse, because why would she do that? Like, why would she want to give her purse? And I mean, obviously, I feel like if it was me, I would have given him my purse regardless if it was $1, because I wouldn't want him to stab me, you know? But my mom was like, no, I'm not gonna give you my purse. And then the guy's like, give me your purse or I'm gonna stab you. Like, I'm not playing. And then my mom like takes out her phone like nothing while she's over here being like almost like getting stabbed and stuff. She said she pulled out her phone and she's like, and you better stop threatening me, I'm gonna call the cops. Dialed the number and she was calling the cops like, this guy's over here like trying to stab her, and my mom's over here like, I'm calling the cops, you know? And I'm just like, Mom, like, why didn't you just give him your purse? Because this and that. Like, why would I want to show him that I'm scared? Like, even though I was like hecka scared, why would I want to show a man that I'm scared and let him take my stuff, you know, just like that? Like, why would I do that? And then the guy ended up like running off, and then I think that's what she called my dad too, to let him know like what was going on. And then the cops ended up getting there. They interrogated my mom, like, you know, what happened? What did this man look like? Cops were like, oh, okay, you know, we're gonna keep an eye out, you know, to see if we see him, if we find him, and then you can, and then as soon as we have like somebody that looks like the person you're describing, we're going to, you know, let you know so that you can come and see if you recognize this person. And mom was like, okay, you know. A couple days later, she received a phone call. We want you to come and see if this is the man that was also assaulting you outside the other liquor store. And my mom was like, oh, okay. And they're like, we will be there in a couple minutes to pick you up in the, you know, the police car, and so you can come and recognize this guy. And if this is the guy that did this to you, you know, we're obviously going to arrest him because he's trying to take somebody's money now. Again, like, he was basically doing the same thing with somebody else. They ended up arresting him, and so they needed my mom to go to court and like do all these things. And so my mom did end up going to court, and she said like, yeah, you know, like, this is what happened and he did this to me. I remember my mom, when she went to court, she was like really nervous to go and be there, like, and you know, say her part of the story. We ended up moving out of the house. I actually do have another story time of that house where we lived at. Let me know if you guys want to hear it, because that house was something else. Like, we experienced some weird things in that house that I was so glad when we moved out. I remember at this time we were probably like 11 or 12 years old. So my dad just out of nowhere one day, he gets home with like this whole bunch of things, like to build like a little cart, like to sell the things in, you know. My dad built two little carts that looked exactly the same, and I'm thinking, why? I'm thinking like, okay, one little cart, okay, you know, like my mom, my brother, but like, why do you need two carts? Like, in case this one breaks, or like, I'm just thinking like, what's going on? Tell me that you're planning on going too, Dad, and that you're planning on taking me now. Like, no. There you have it. The thing that I hated the most, I had to do it now. I had to go out in the streets and do it. I know you guys are probably like, Jackie's probably not that bad, but you guys, like, I was little and that's embarrassing. And my dad was like, okay, now we're gonna sell the raspados, like the icy thing. I asked my mom, like, Mom, why do I have to go now? Why is my dad going? Why is he not going to work? Like, what's going on? And then she was just like, oh, you know, he got laid off, like, you know, with this whole layoff thing that's going on, you know, he was one of them that got laid off, and well, now we both have to work. And I'm thinking like, but like, why does he just doesn't find like another job? Like, I'm over here like trying to get I'm just trying to escape from going to go sell in the streets, you know? You guys do realize I don't know how to do any of this like out in the street. Like, I can prepare the things and he can go by himself, but like, you know, like really? You know, I'm just there like panicking, you know, because I have to go with him. Parents were so strict on us that they were like, as soon as you get out of school, I want you to come home. I don't want you talking to your friends. I don't want you going there, over here. I don't want you wasting any time other than just coming straight home from school. And we were like super scared. We were like, oh my God, Victor, like, as soon as we got out of school, like, you know, because we obviously had classes, like, we had our classes were kind of together, so we would be like, okay, meet me right here when we get out of school so we can go walking home together. And so he was like, okay, you know. So as soon as the bell would ring, we would meet in the little spot. We would go, you know, we would go home and stuff. We had to, you know, help my parents get the little carts ready. And I remember my mom would go on one side of the neighborhood and she would sell her stuff. And then my dad and I, we would go to the other side of the neighborhood and we would sell our stuff on the other side. I didn't want to go like in my school clothes, so I obviously had to change. And, you know, I had to wear like a little hat so that I wouldn't get sunburned. You guys have no idea. It was so hot sometimes. My dad was very serious. He still is very serious, to be honest. He's just a very serious man that, like, we would go and like my dad was just like, okay, you know, if they didn't speak Spanish, I had to do like the translating, and I had to offer them like what we had and what we're selling and stuff. And I'm just like, oh my God, like, this is so embarrassing. I can't believe I'm doing this right now. Like, you know, I'm over here like with my little hat, like trying to hide, like, oh, don't look at me, don't recognize me, like, don't even, like, nothing, you know. We would come home tired, and I had to help my mom make the food for dinner sometimes. And if I wasn't able to help my mom make dinner, then obviously I had to catch up on my homework. And I remember I had a phone at that time. That was kind of like their way of like giving back to us for going with them and helping them and stuff. I don't know. The moment I would pull out my phone from my back pocket, like to see if like I had a text, or like, you know, back then, like check like my little MySpace and like all these things, my dad would turn around and be like, put your phone away. And I'm like, okay, I'll put it away. Or like I would be so scared to use my phone like when I was with him, because he like never liked me using my phone. Obviously this is already like in middle school. This one day my dad and I, like, we were rushing, you know, to get out of the house because it was time for the kids to come out of school. So I had to be the one to do the horn, you know. So just imagine me, I'm like so embarrassed, and then I'm still having to do the horn, and I'm just like, why do I have to do this? Why do I have to do this? This white truck pulls up to us, and we're thinking like, oh, you know, like, we're gonna sell like our first customer, you know, whatever. He's holding a clipboard, and then he comes up to me and he was just like, do you guys have a permit to be selling this? And I'm just like, huh? And my dad's like, what is he saying? Obviously in Spanish, like, ¿qué te está diciendo? Like, what is he saying? And I'm just like, oh, he's asking if we have a permit. And he's like, a permit for what? I'm like, to be selling this. And I was like, do you have one? Like, I'm over here like super innocent, like, we should have one, right, Dad? Like, we have one, you know? And my dad's like, no, we don't have a permit. Like, do we need a permit? Like, he's over here like, you know? And I was just like, oh no, my dad said that we don't have a permit. Did we need a permit? And then he was just like, yeah, in order to be selling this, because you know, it's like, you know, you guys have to have, somebody has to inspect how you do your stuff, how you cook, if you're being sanitary, and this and this and that. And I'm just like, no, we don't have one, you know. He's like, okay, well, since you guys don't have a permit, I'm gonna have to take all your things. And my dad's over here like, what is he saying? What is he saying? And so I'm over here like in the middle translating, you know. And so I tell my dad like, oh, you know, he said that he said he has to take all of our things because we don't have a permit. No, why is he gonna take all of our things? And I'm like, because he said we don't have a permit, so technically we're not allowed to sell anything. He pulls out his freaking plastic bags and he was like, I'm not gonna take your cart, I'm just gonna take what's food, because that's what you can't be selling. And then he was like, and I don't want to see you guys selling this again, because next time we're gonna have to give you guys a ticket. The moment that I saw the health inspector pull out the bags and throw all the corn in there, everybody's just looking at us like getting our things taken away. And my dad's just there furious, like you can see how mad he was. I was upset because I'm thinking like, yeah, as much as I hate this job and I hate doing this and everything, like that's our money, you know. Like my parents just spent all day doing this to just get it taken away, and it's just gonna get thrown away, you know. Then my dad ended up calling my mom and told her like, hey, watch out, there's this guy like in this truck and he took all of our things. But then again, this also happened to my mom and my brother. Anyways, I remember this one time my mom and my brother were literally walking out of the house with little carrito. This freaking health inspector just comes like right in front of the house and starts taking their things because they couldn't be selling that. So the next day, like nothing happened, went to go sell again. My dad ended up, you know, just kind of like getting tired of it in a way. And my mom still continued doing it for a while more. And eventually she stopped, because I think from all the years of always going and going and going, she ended up like, she would get like really bad rashes and like in her skin because of the sun exposure, and then she was starting to get like swollen and stuff like that. So it was just best for her to just not do it anymore. And when my dad was again making good money at this time again, so obviously she didn't have that need to work. I think we were already in high school when they stopped doing it. So mind this, we went from elementary all the way through, like, I think to be honest, I think I was in college and they were still doing it. We honestly did this for like a really long time. At this time that we're in high school, you know, I'm kind of already over the whole embarrassment and just being like known as the daughter of the churro lady or the elote lady or the elote guy and this and that. Like we had a whole bunch of names at school. It's actually kind of cool to like have a parent that does this, because we get to eat all of this. Like whatever they don't sell, we get to eat it. So as soon as my mom would get home from work, like from selling, if she had leftover corn, we would eat it. And if she had leftover chips, we would eat them. And we would make ourselves ices and like all these things, so we were able to enjoy all of that stuff for free. I was already with my husband, so he would even get stuff for free. Yeah, I also have a cute little picture of him eating an icy, but I have to ask him for permission because I don't know if he would want me to put him out there. But yeah, it was hard, but basically that was like our only way of pulling through and making money at one point. And honestly, like I'm not even embarrassed about it anymore. You grow out of it, you get used to it, your mentality changes, and now I'm just kind of like I tell my mom, how come you don't sell anymore? Like your corn was so good. Like I could never, like when I buy from other people or other stands, I'm just like, they don't taste like my mom's. Like they just don't have that, like that flavor that my mom's corn and things had. And I still buy from the guy that passes through my house. Like I'll still buy corn and stuff off of him, you know, because why not? You know how we gotta be supporting. We have to support our vendors and all that stuff. I guess when I was little, I was very embarrassed all the time, like super embarrassed to even tell people what my parents would do for a living and all that stuff. But like I said, you grow out of it, your mentality just changes, and then as you grow older, you kind of think like, oh, that's why my parents were doing that, or oh, that's why we had to, or that's why this, that's why that, you know. So I mean, as long as you're supporting for your family in a good way, you know, you're fine, and there's nothing to be embarrassed about. If your parents do this, you know, just know that it's for a reason. It's for your own good, and it's because they want you to know what it's like to earn your money. I guess in a way, was also a way for my parents to show us that you don't just get what you want by sitting. This was a very beneficial experience for both my brother and I, because we learned to appreciate more of our things that they would get us, and we would appreciate our parents more. I know what it's like to be a street vendor, because at one point I was there and I did that and I experienced that. So I know how hard it is, all this that's going on with the street vendors that are in danger and like what they're doing to them. I mean, I'm happy that we're not doing that anymore, because we're not in that risk of having to go through that. But I can only imagine what our street vendors are feeling right now, that they have to be going through that, or even thinking like, am I gonna be one of those? Like, am I gonna be the one that's gonna get bullied and picked on just like the other people? You know, it's scary, you know. Honestly, it's really sad, because so for a lot of them, that is also their only source of income. So I can only imagine the fear of like, I'm not gonna have, if that happens to me, I won't be able to bring money to my house, my kids, you know, and all that stuff, and we're gonna be tight on money, and you know, it's just all the thoughts and the stress that they could probably be going through. I really hope that, you know, they stop all of this and they just let people make their money. We have all these people that just decide not to work or do anything for themselves, and then we have the people that want to work and then they get bullied for it, and then they get killed for it and all that stuff. It's like they're just trying to bring income to their family. It's really sad to see that that's going on. Hopefully that stops. Let me know if you guys want to see more story times, because I do have some juicy ones. Let me give you guys a quick baby bump update before I go, because I know I didn't upload last week. I was just so busy. So I'm 33 weeks, and yeah, this baby's almost here. I'm so excited. Anyways guys, that was it for today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed this story time. I'll see you guys on my next video. Bye guys.